Hello and welcome to the April Facebook chat. I'm your host, Robert Soto, along with your co-host, Tammy Grunhart. And today our special guest is Rob Reich. He's our Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer and my leader. It's been maybe close to a year and a half since Rob's been with us. And so we want to welcome him back. We always love having Rob here. He has very broad areas of responsibility in terms of support, whether that's maintenance, training, equipment, L&D, and so on and so on. So like having him here, he is a broad subject expert, if you will. And so we want to welcome Rob back. So
thank you, Robert.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
We're going to start out before getting into the questions with just a quick plug, because it is April and April is Distracted Driving Month. So we want to put out that reminder with safety in mind. And a safety director that's very near and dear to us said every month is Distracted Driving Month. Officially, April is Distracted Driving Month. So we want to make you aware of that. As we talk to our fleet and interact with our associates, want to make sure as we're driving, again, this applies to our office, shop, warehouse folks as well. We take the same approach with all associates in terms of eating behind the wheel, talking on the phone behind the wheel, all those kind of things, whether it's me on a conference call and trying to do that while I'm in a rental car, that's a no-no. And so we want to just, again, remind associates, be safe out there, focus on the task at hand, driving, and keep us and the public safe. Distracted driving can have significant consequences, obviously life-changing consequences. And again, nothing we do should hurt ourselves or others while we're out there. So have that discipline, stay vigilant, stay focused on driving. And again, we want to share that safety message with you. So anything you would add in terms of distracted driving? No?
Well, you're right, Robert. It's just so important. And as you said, it's for every associate in the company. So we're as committed to that as everybody else is, and we should all set that example.
Absolutely. Thank
I
you,
would
Rob.
agree. Yeah. Just be focused and stay diligent.
So as far as questions, we can get into those questions and have the full hour for anything you want to ask.
All right, we had a couple that were posted before we even started, so I'm going to address those first. The first one is from Kurt Ditto, who asks about fuel economy. He said drivers that have been with the company anywhere from 3 to 15 years are having a hard time making that new rating because it's unachievable. He thinks it's set too high. So they don't get the fuel bonus, and Freightliner is saying that they should be achieving 10 miles per gallon, and that they say the software has been messed with.
So obviously we want to set an achievable target,
Mm-hmm.
a good target to earn a bonus, but a very achievable one, Kurt. So appreciate you asking that question. We use a process every quarter to look at, the various spec, the model year and the spec of the tractor and what time of year it's in, knowing that the time of year does influence, how your MPG is going to be. And that's how the numbers are set. Freightliner really doesn't publish or set any type of MPG target. They would tell us, for example, hey, this model year is 3% more fuel efficient than the previous model year based on how we spec it.
Yeah.
They're never going to give us a number because it depends on how you operate the truck, obviously,
Sure.
what number you're going to hit. We clearly don't expect trucks to be at 10 miles a gallon yet.
Seems
You might
really
have
high.
you might haul a lightweight load and see some 10 mile a gallon, but that's not going to be your consistent number. So what I'll do, Kurt, is if you could give us your unit number, I can follow up and just take a look at that and understand how that one was set, just to make sure it's the right process. But our intent is to set a good target, but an achievable one based on the spec of what we know about the truck. You mentioned some software issues. That could be parameter issues. We've had a couple parameter issues with Freightliner. Those typically get fixed over the air now, so they're able to be updated relatively quickly.
Nice.
If we find anything. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by software, but I would imagine maybe there was a parameter issue with your truck. If so, and it hasn't been fixed, that's something that the shop needs to be aware of. But I can also have us check by unit number just to make sure there's nothing standing out there.
Perfect. And that's exactly where I was going to go, Kurt. Thanks for joining us. Kurt's a TE and runs on an account out of Ohio. Thanks for being here. I was going to say the same thing. We'll look at your power number and get with our folks and see if there's something there that's potentially impacting you. So thank you, Kurt.
Chris Hughley said the front sensor is being triggered by metal posts behind the guardrails. And he's asking, can the front sensor be removed?
Collision
Yeah, I think it's the
mitigation, or-
collision mitigation. It must be hard braking when it sees a post behind the guardrails is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that could be a calibration issue. The system really is all integrated, so you can't really take anything out of it to get it to continue to work. But we should take a look. If you're getting a whole bunch of false positives, particularly on one side of the truck, for example, that could be a calibration issue. So we should report that and make sure the shop takes a look at, if there's something wrong with the system that would be creating all those.
Yeah.
I think as the technology has evolved, it's worked some of those things,
Absolutely.
those ghosts, if you will, because we heard it much more prevalent in the past, but it seems to definitely have gotten better. So I would agree, it's probably a calibration issue that we should look at that power and see if it needs to be recalibrated.
Okay. We stream on YouTube as well. So while we're doing
Oh,
this,
very
we're
good.
streaming out on YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Matthew Anderson has asking the questions about inward-facing cameras. In the near future, will there be inward-facing cameras?
We don't have a plan for inward-facing cameras today, so there's my answer.
We've got the outward, right?
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
that
absolutely.
trigger
We love the
events.
outward. There's a clear benefit to that. We haven't used the inward-facing cameras. We're always assessing new technology, so it's not something I would say never on by any means. And we know part of the driver concern, of course, is privacy.
Sure.
There's actually some new devices that it's even not really a camera. It watches your eyes and hands, but I don't know how to explain. Almost like radar. It's not radar, but it's like a fuzzy picture if you looked at it. They can't even see what's behind you. So that might be something that we take a look at. We like to understand new technology, but at this point, no plans in that space.
Shaquille Turner wants to know what the standards are when training team leaders refuse to respond back to TEs. So Dan messaged and said he can get that to Andrea Sequin and she
Sure.
can look into that.
Well, let's just talk a basic expectation. Obviously, our leaders need to be responsive to the folks that they support. So that would be my expectation. And if that's happening, that's why we have a good chain of command. So I would always suggest that, our goal is that you have a good conversation with your leader. If for whatever reason that's not occurring, that's why we have the operations manager in place to have that conversation. We have our HR team, and obviously we have our great associate relations team that can also help get involved if we have a leadership issue somewhere. But clearly the standard is prompt follow-up.
Absolutely. Kevin Coker, who's one of our Schneider Ambassador
Hey, Kevin.
drivers, says, good evening, team and Rob. Can you provide an update, any information on 2 new additions he's seeing on equipment? The first one is disc brakes on VTL TA trailers, and then high-profile bumpers on newer tractors instead of low-profile bumpers. I've seen one of each and wanted to know if this is something we're testing.
So we are testing some disc brakes on trailers, but very few. So you kind of saw a unicorn out there,
Wow.
Kevin. And at this point, we don't think that's the right way to go, by the way, just based on some early assessment of disc brakes and trailers. We think the standard brakes is probably still the way to go there, but you probably saw one of our test units that was out there if you saw disc brakes on a trailer. On the bumper, that's an interesting question. That was actually a Freightliner change that they made with their latest design. We're working with them just on some options. The repairability of their new bumper is a little difficult. So if anybody sees some damage there with one of the newer bumpers, it might take us a little longer. So we are working with Freightliner just on the design changes they made and seeing what some options are that might be better suited for us and maybe a little bit more similar to what we had before, honestly.
Good eye out there, Kevin.
Yeah.
Start calling you
Yeah.
Eagle Eye.
Any feedback you can give on how long a CAT student should be with the TE? Is 5 days enough? Should we have more time than that? So if someone's asking, 5 days doesn't seem like it's an adequate amount of time to be with the training engineer.
Well, that's typically the standard time with a new inexperienced hire. Now we train to time to skills and not to time. So if we find any inexperienced student, by the way, a CAT student who came through for us, if you're not familiar with the program, It's our apprenticeship training program, so you don't have to have a CDL. We help you get the CDL. And then really the rest of your training is extremely similar to our standard inexperienced training of somebody that, say, went to a truck driving school. So typically it is that 5 to 7 days with a TE. If someone needed more, then that's where the training team is going to work with the TE and have that assessment. And if we need to do some more days, we can do that. So that's how I would answer the question. But I would tell you the CAT program is just extremely similar once that CDL process is done to the rest of the inexperienced training.
Sound cut out. Brian's coming.
Saying that?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, there were a few. Can't hear.
I was gonna say, Vicky, I don't know if you can type.
Right here.
I don't understand why they do that.
I don't either, right in the middle. No sound?
I'm getting any sound on my phone.
Okay. Can you give us a thumbs up if you can hear us?
So if we were answering those questions, they couldn't.
The last one they couldn't. They said
Okay.
That's just strange.
security is looking at it too.
Anything better?
They're looking.
Just that's out.
Yeah, gotta love it.
We're gonna need a restriction-free laptop or something to.
And it's not on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube is okay. Okay. That's nothing to do with Facebook. Are we back? Or is that YouTube?
That was
That's
YouTube.
YouTube.
Is majority of them are on Facebook.
Facebook. Drop a link.
If you're on YouTube, stand by. We've lost our Facebook sound, so we're trying to get it fixed.
Someone shared the YouTube.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to just try it on YouTube? Do we know we can answer YouTube questions?
Yeah, and I can still see the chat.
Yeah.
So they
You can
can't
see the YouTube
yeah.
chat?
I can't see the YouTube chat, but Sarah can forward me those.
Okay. Well, let's
Um,
answer YouTube questions and hopefully we'll fix Facebook.
Okay.
Not very exciting watching us sit there.
No, right, right.
It's
Just one additional kind of call out from the CAT students that Dan shared is they get 1 week usually on the road with a TE, but it's 5 weeks overall.
Absolutely.
So they're part of that program
Yeah.
for 5 weeks, working on a variety of different skills. We've got Kevin Kohout asking, when is the new global navigation coming out? He's heard from drivers that the local current navigation is having GP issues with GPG. Or is that supposed to be GPS?
GPS.
Probably GPS.
Yeah. So this is from Facebook?
Yes. I'm working on getting the YouTube.
Go ahead.
But just go ahead. It's the same feed.
Okay, so right now, so of course we had the navigation